preview show on the W.TV. We're inside Orleans Arena, site of Media Day. It'll also be site of the championship tournament in March as we look to see if the Gonzaga Bulldogs or any other team will get a bid into the NCAA tournament. Alongside Casey Jacobson, I'm Steve Quist. Happy to bring you along here and be your guides. We're going to talk with the Gonzaga Bulldogs here coming up shortly in about 20 minutes or so. And again, picked to be the favorite here in this conference.
Yeah, when you introduce the WCC, you have to start with the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They've earned that right. They're coming off of 4 consecutive Sweet 16 appearances. They were in the national championship game just 2 years ago. They're likely going to be a top 5 team in the country. They return Rui Hachimura, Josh Perkins, Killian Tilly. So they're loaded this year. St. Mary's, is this a rebuilding year for them? They lost 3 seniors, including Jock Landale last year. Is this a year that BYU kind of looks up and says, hey, this is a year that we could contend for the WCC title?
And we're always talking about who's going to be in 4th place because you always know the top 3 teams every year. But this year we might be having a fruitful discussion about who's going to take that number 2 spot. You look at the Bulldogs last year, only conference loss at home to St. Mary's. The St. Mary's team that won 28 games a year ago and still did not get an NCAA tournament berth. They finished with 30, a couple of those postseason wins.
30 wins is a school record, and they didn't get in. You know that had to sting Randy Bennett, but we'll see if they can bounce back this season.
And as a result, the conference schedule now will be dialed back from 18 games to 16 to accommodate some of the upper echelon teams not having to play the lower level teams and hurting their RPI, and perhaps that they have an opportunity to schedule a little bit tougher in the beginning of the year to catch the eye of the NCAA tournament. Here is our remaining schedule for WCC Men's Media Day, and first up will be Dave Rose and Yoli Childs. Childs decided to back out of the NBA draft after not getting invited to the pre-draft camp in Chicago, so we'll talk with him. Mark Few, Randy Bennett will be here for a deep discussion, and then Kyle Smith, San Francisco at 12:45.
So many great coaches and players. What a treat for us to be here. It's good to be here with you, Steve.
Loving it, Casey. Dave Rose, Yoli Childs from the Byu Cougars. Might they be the team that challenges Gonzaga for the top spot this year? We'll dig deep into their roster coming up next.
Collinsworth, Miss
Frozen solid. Welcome back to 2018 West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Media Day. Alongside Casey Jacobson, I'm Steve Quist, and we start this noon hour by having a conversation with the BYU Cougars, who are now looking to keep that streak of 13 consecutive seasons with 20 wins or more going, and we welcome their head coach, Dave Rose, in, and Yoli Childs as well. Thanks, guys, for coming down, and tell us a little bit about your team here and what you expect to get Nick Emery back here this year.
You know, we've had a good summer and a great fall. the guys are ready to play. I know that. Finally got a roster of majority of upperclassmen. We got a good junior class, a couple seniors. And these guys, they know what we do. They know how we play. And 30 practices is a lot of practices before you get to playing real games. So we'll have a little tip-off event tomorrow where we'll play each other in front of a crowd, and then next week have an exhibition game. But the guys have been great, and I think that they're working hard. It's a little different team. We're not nearly as big as we've maybe been in the past, but I think we got a really skilled group. We're going to race the ball around, fire it up there, and see how we do. I think it'll be a fun team to watch.
So we know that Gonzaga is going to come back full force this year, but it might be a rebuilding year for a team like St. Mary's. So for you guys, it could be an opportunity to really break through, contend for a championship. What is it going to take for you guys to really make that push, get to the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think we all know it's consistency, from the start to the finish. The best thing about the Zags over the last few years is that, no matter what the challenge is, they're deep enough, they're skilled enough, they're big enough to overcome. And what we need to do is we need to have some of our teams start beating them so that we can all kind of get to a point where we can compete for a conference championship. Last year St. Mary's stayed with them pretty good, but they have a real confidence in this league to go out and win games wherever they play, and consistent from the 1st of January all the way through to the end. So the rest of us need to figure out how to do that with them.
Yoli, you had a solid year last year, almost 18 points a game, almost 9 rebounds. Big numbers, put your name in for the NBA, decided to come back. Just take us through that process, and obviously you're happy to be back, I would assume?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was an unbelievable process. I'm really happy about it. I'm happy that players now have the opportunity to go in and see where they're at and have the option to come back. I think that's huge. And I would encourage players to go take that and to go see what you have to work on. I like to say that it's like having the answers to the test and you study them.
Good analogy. Yeah.
I saw the things that I need to get better at and the things I need to do to become an NBA player. And the best part of the whole thing was I came back and I met with Coach Rose, and before telling him these things, I asked him, if I come back, what do you want to see me do? How do you want to see me improve? What do I need to do to make this team great? And the things he told me that I needed to work on, that I needed to get better at, were the exact same things that the NBA teams told me to do. So it was obvious that the best place for me to get better was here, playing for Coach Rose.
Do kids often do that, by the way?
Well, we've had quite a few go through the process, and I think Yo maybe is just as studious as any of them going through it. You have a lot of people in your ear. A lot of people are telling you one thing. The coach at the university is kind of like, he's kind of like the bad guy, because he's the guy that's trying to get you to come back in everybody's mind. But for me, I've always been, hey, what is the very best thing for these kids? And we all know what they want. We know what's the best way to go about getting it. And some guys, the best way is maybe another path. But for Yoli, he wants to get drafted, and you get drafted, the best thing was for him to come back.
Good. Well, we're happy that you're back, Yoli. So you and Elijah Bryant were the top scoring duo in the WCC last year. Elijah has moved on. Will it be you and Nick Emery this year? Tell us a little bit about Emery and how he's doing as of right now. We know he won't be available for the first 9 games, but he'll be available for all of WCC. Tell us how he's doing.
He's doing great. He's getting better every single day. From taking a year off and not playing, you should come back a little rusty, but every single day he's getting better and better. We had a practice the other day. I don't think he missed a shot. I really don't think he missed a shot in our scrimmage. He's a guy that can be an explosive scorer. He's one of the few players out there that can go off for 30, even 40 points any night. He's very explosive. But the thing I love about our team is our depth and the amount of guys that we have that can put the ball in the basket and can make plays for others. Jashir Hardnett has improved a ton. We all know TJ is an unbelievable scorer. Guys like Ryland Bergersen, Zach Selius, all these guys can put up big numbers and can do a lot on the offensive end. So it's exciting to play with so many great players.
You said you wanted to be an NBA player. You were telling us a funny story about how your parents are short, your brother's big. Tell us that story here.
I'll tell you the story on camera.
Yeah.
So,
if it's true.
True story. Everyone watching, believe it or not.
Power of the mind here.
Believe it or not. Power of the mind. Okay, power of the mind. My mom is 5'8". My dad's 5'10".
That makes no sense.
And and my whole life, I always wanted to be in the NBA. When I was in 3rd grade and they asked you, what are you going to do when you grow up? I said, I'm going to be an NBA player. And to do that, you probably got to be kind of tall. That helps.
It helps.
So I told myself every single day, I wake up in the morning, I go to bed at night, and I tell myself to grow. And it worked. So all those kids out there,
Simple.
if you're watching this, tell yourself to grow.
Yeah, it's probably not going to work out for all the kids that are watching at home, Yoli. You're just crushing dreams.
It didn't work out for my youngest daughter. She's
Well, I'll talk to you about the schedule. You guys have certainly improved it now. The conference schedule has gone down from 18 to 16 to accommodate, Gonzaga and some of the higher teams, so that it doesn't
Like
what
BYU.
happened. Yeah, like BYU. What happened to St. Mary's, we all know as well. Chronicle doesn't happen to the other teams that have a good season. But you guys, you're going to renew that series with San Diego State, which was always a fun series with when Jimmer and that one year they had the 34-3 season, and you also have Nevada on there and UNLV. Talk a little bit about upgrading the schedule and the need to do so.
I think when we talked about it as coaches, when we knew that it was going to happen, I think every coach kind of took it and ran with it as far as what's best for their program, to do as far as how you're going to schedule those games. And for us, we used the one opportunity to get a return game, basically, a team that's played in the played in the Mountain West and played in the NCAA tournament, almost every year in the last 10 years, and in San Diego State. And we know that'll be a great it'll be a great home game for us, in the following year. And then we wanted to get a quadrant one game, so we're going on the road to play Mississippi State, and it's we don't get a return out of the game. Ben's a pretty smart guy. I did this once with him when he was at UCLA, but he finally agreed for us to come down and play, and I wanted to do it for Jashir because Shear's from down there.
Yeah.
So we kind of killed two birds with one stone. But those two games are going to be a real challenge for us, and hopefully we can win them both and get everything out of it that we wanted to when we decided what to do. I know our guys are excited about playing those games.
You guys returned 4 of your 5 starters, Coach. I want to ask you, I think I kind of know the answer, but how important is not only having good players, but having that continuity to then, go on the road to a Nevada and have a chance to win those games?
Well, we're excited about our returning group, obviously. I think that, we have a challenge every year. It seems like we're replacing a great player. Tyler Haas, All-American, Kyle Collins with Mr. Triple-Double. Eric Mika left was our leading scorer last year. Eli left was our leading scorer. But the group coming, so I think we're used to the challenge. This group coming back is just, they're really, I think they're really motivated to just be a really consistent team. We got great teams on the schedule. Going to be a real challenge for them. But I think that if we can win the games that we have scheduled and have a consistent run in the league, I think we'll be right back where we want to be.
So is there anyone we're missing that we haven't discussed? A new recruit coming in or someone we could keep our eyes on? I know you guys have a solid starting 5 and, with Celius coming off the bench. And is there anyone we're not talking about that you should discuss that you've seen?
Tell them about the guys.
The guys, all right.
The young guys.
A couple of our young guys, Gavin Baxter, Connor Harding. I played AAU ball with them for 2 years. And Gavin's an unbelievable athlete. Just a freak.
He's better athlete than you?
Yes.
Okay.
First, no question. I still dunk on him, but but he's about 6.
But Gav actually dunks on you too.
No, that's a fact. Gavin's never dunked on me.
Oh no, he blocks your shot a lot.
He blocked me once.
Yeah. Okay.
He's never dunked on me. Never will. But he's about 6'9", 7'3" wingspan.
Wow.
About a 40-inch vertical. So just freaky athlete. Can help us a lot on the defensive end, rim protection, use his length to get in passing lanes. And then Connor Harding is just, I've always looked at him as like kind of a coach's dream. He'll do whatever you want him to do. He's 6'5", big for a guard. He's very physical. If you tell him, go lock this guy up, that will be his job for the whole game. He can catch and shoot. He can put the ball on the ground. He can do a lot of good things for us. I think Ryland Bergersen was a freshman last year. I think he's improved his game a lot. He's become a lot more aggressive. He shoots the ball really well. So we got a lot of young guys that can do a lot for us. And
we're going to play a little bit different. This group is actually really suited to actually push the ball and get up and down the floor. When we lost Nick last year and we knew Eli would be a real feature part of our guard, he's not a guy that can fly up and down the floor. He's more of a kind of a power guard.
Definitely.
So we kind of adjusted a few things, and I think our guys are excited to get back out there and play like we did maybe.
Wish I had a year of eligibility left, Coach.
So does Coach.
I wish you did too. And we can put Travis Hansen in with you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Travis,
He's already got the lineup.
They play teams that play together.
Yeah, we did in Spain. Yes, sir.
We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Dave
guys.
Yoli, thank you so much. This segment brought to you, by the way, by the Power of Growing CDs. Yoli Child's available $9.99 right now on Amazon.
Spokesman.
All right, when we step aside, When we come back, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the team again picked to win the regular season here in the West Coast Conference, will join us. Mark Few will be along as we'll talk Bulldog basketball coming up next here.
Ten seconds, guys.
Welcome back to the Orleans Arena, site of the 2018 West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Media Day. And then in March Madness, we'll have the West Coast Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Championships with the right to earn the automatic berth out of the West Coast Conference. And, of course, it's been earned year in and year out by the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who are now the only program in the nation to appear in the last 4 NCAA Sweet 16s. We have their head coach, Mark Few, and point guard Josh Perkins with us as well. So tell us a little bit about this year. I mean, again, high expectations for the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we always kind of have high expectations at our place, which is a good thing, and I think we welcome that. But yeah, this team has, you know, got the news last April when Rui and Killian decided to come back and play. So I think we knew we were kind of on the brink of having an opportunity to not only be good, but hopefully be you know, one of the real special teams, and we'll figure out this year if we can make that happen or not.
Coach, your guys' schedule is always tough. Your non-conference schedule, talking about this year's no exception. You guys go to North Carolina, you're in the Maui Invitational. Talk about how important it is for you guys to challenge yourselves in that non-conference, and this team is ready. You got veterans, and you can really do some damage early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, we try to schedule with the NCAA tournament in mind every year, you know, and I think this is a schedule that we hope will put us in position if we, you know, can do the kind of things that we come together and trust each other and all that would earn a #1 seed. We've done that a couple different times, and I think this is the type of non-conference schedule the committee's kind of told everybody they'd like you to play. So I always take notice of what they're saying and trying to communicate to all of us. Yeah. And so that's what we do. But I think along what you said, Casey, is this team needs to play a schedule like that. Obviously, they want to play a schedule like that. The way we recruit these type of guys like Perk that have a lot of options, that they know when they come to Gonzaga they're going to play a schedule like that. And to be honest with you, at this point, I need to play a schedule like that just to kind of.
I hear you.
Josh,
have some fun and stay in it.
You're in your 5th year now, so you know the ins and outs of this program too. And did I read you were coming off shoulder surgery too? So take us through how your shoulder's feeling and what you expect out of your team this year.
Shoulder's feeling good. A lot of credit to Dr. Vanderwild for doing that for me and getting me back to where I am. As far as the team, we have a tremendous team, a lot of pieces. But as coaches said, it's up to us if we buy in, play together, and if we can really be great. But we have the pieces to a puzzle. It's just our job to make that puzzle come true.
It must be difficult as a guard. There's been so many great guards there, right? You can just go on and the list. I work with Dan Dickow and all these guys year in and year out, and the legacy.
The one we're missing is Casey Jacobs.
No,
we just could have.
That's funny. Everybody who came in.
Dan, I would have played with Dan. He would have shot all the balls.
That's true.
I'd have transferred, coach.
Casey
come on,
probably
man.
wouldn't have made the league. Yeah, he wouldn't have got shot.
Oh boy.
So what's that like to just be the next great guard out of Gonzaga and having just that on your shoulders week in and week out?
It's unreal. It's kind of the reason why I'm at GU. Just coming here with the great guards. Arguably the best point guard to ever play the game in John Stockton. The list goes on and on. John, Jeremy Pargo, David Stockton, Kevin Pangos, Derek Ravio, Dan Dickow. I can go on and on and on about these great point guards. Josh. Yeah, I can. I can keep going too. Just for my name to be up there with those guys and just to wear Gonzaga across my chest and just add on to the point guard legacy. It's something I can't put in words, and something I haven't even been able to reflect on yet while I've been able to play still.
Every college coach in the country wants a veteran guard who can run a program. If you look back at the national champions over the last couple of years, or even the teams that make the Final Four, they always have a Joel Berry or a just name them all. How important is it that he stay healthy, and how much trust in him do you have in big game situations when it's a 1 or 2 possession game?
It's really important, and this shoulder thing was a lot bigger than.
Which shoulder was it, by the way? The shooting
one
shoulder
that matters.
Oh,
and it's it is one. I think he was surprised how much it knocked him back. It's a serious deal and tough to come back from. He's done a great job getting himself back in position to already be practicing right now, but he's actually had to relearn his stroke and all that, which was magnificent, the way he shoots the ball. But no, it's really to have a 5th-year guy that's been in our program. Josh has been in so many games. People forget he had like 15 in the first half of the national championship game.
I don't forget that.
No, I know, but isn't that amazing? That here he is, he's back. To have those experiences of playing in a Final Four, to playing in a bunch of Sweet 16s, as you said, that obviously, it doesn't get any better than that. Now the challenge will be for him to take that next step to really own this team and own those winning plays that we're kind of after him about, and kind of not worry about some of the other stuff. He's in good company. We just added Gino Crandall, a young man from North Dakota. He's got some experience. Zach Norvell got a lot of big-time game experience. Last year's, obviously, Rui and Killian being in a lot of those big moments, big games last year. I think that helps when you're a point guard to be able to walk out there and know, you don't have to take the world on by yourself.
I remember we were sitting here this time last year, and I remember saying, you're going to love Brandon Clark. He had to sit out. Has his development been where you would expect? And he's going to play a big part in the rotation, I would assume, this year, right? The San Jose State transfer?
Yeah, BC, just playing with him open gym in practice so far, he's easily the most athletic guy I've ever played with.
Really?
Yeah, he's super bouncy. He jumps super fast, super high, and does some things your jaw just drops. He plays hard. He wants to be really good, and he knows how to play basketball, which is really cool. He can pass. He can catch. He catch lobs. So.
I think what you're going to be shocked by is his skill development. And quite frankly, we were shocked the staff at San Jose did a great job with him. Even by the time he got to our place, I mean, what we watched on film, and then what we saw, I mean, his range is out to 3 now, which when he's at San Jose, that really wasn't the case. So they did a nice job. Brandon did a nice job, and Perk's right. I mean, he is an explosive athlete that can move his feet very well. You can switch ball screens with him, but he can really protect the rim, and he's got a real knack of scoring the ball around the hoop.
Well, it's awesome after losing Jonathan Williams III to have a guy like that you can plug in. Lucky for you guys. Josh, I want to ask you, last year, your season, I know you were dealing with that shoulder issue throughout the end of the year. Your NCAA tournament ended with a loss to Florida State. And I know as a former player, when you lose unexpectedly or earlier than you thought, you go into that offseason and you're thinking about that. Did that motivate you? How much has that been on your mind?
Yeah, I don't even think Coach knows this, but I mean, I take that loss is on me, and I told the guys that.
It can't all be on you.
No, I really think that one was on me, and I'll admit that one. I think Florida State, did a great job, denying me the ball and not letting me set the offense for my guys, and I deferred and didn't let them do it. I just passed the ball and let things be okay. Whereas if I would have got the ball, getting some ball screens, take some pull-up jumpers, or get my guys, in the right spots, we would have been more successful. So I mean, that loss, I think about it every day, because I know I could have done something to change the result.
That loss was on what happened in practice when Killian Tilly hurt his
Yeah,
hip.
Killian didn't play, but I love the answer still.
I do too, but I mean, hey,
yeah.
And who's to say? I mean, I thought Florida State was terrific the night we played them. They were terrific in that stretch run. I mean,
they're one of the most athletic teams in all of the country.
Yeah, their defense was so suffocating, and I mean, it was legit too. I mean, with great rim protection, and I don't remember playing against anything like that. With just some of what they were able to do with the length that they had. But again, you guys were obviously here for the WCC tournament. The role that Killian was on in March.
He didn't miss a 3 for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
seriously,
to not have that ability to stretch the floor was tough. And the way it happened, kind of in a light practice the day we were traveling down to LA, and so it happened pretty, very quickly in regards to game time and game strategy. So, but again, Florida State was terrific, and I think if it serves as a motivation to these guys, that's good, and that's great from a coaching standpoint.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys play that tough stretch in November and Maui in December as well, and we'll see you back during the conference season.
You got it, guys.
Mark
Thanks
Few
a lot.
and
Good
Josh
luck.
Perkins joining us here from the Gonzaga Bulldogs. So we'll step aside, and when we come back, we will talk about the St. Mary's Gales. We'll have Randy Bennett in. Lost a lot of guys like Nar and Landell and Hermanson. We'll see how he has reshaped that roster there in Moraga to compete again here in the WCC. Back after this. Welcome back to 2018 West Coast Conference Media Day. Alongside Casey Jacobson, I'm Steve Quist. Thanks for spending part of your Thursday with us here in October. We're not too far away from the start of the season, and we're honored to talk now with the St. Mary's Gales, who had a 30-win season last year, the best in school history. Randy Bennett, and with us is Jordan Ford as well. So, guys, talk about just is there still that lingering disappointment over last year and how that wound up ending with the NCAA tournament?
No, I don't think we're.
I tell it is with the coach, so
yeah.
First.
Yeah, I don't think we're lingering on last year's disappointments. We had a really good year last year, and we're looking forward to building with this next group of guys.
Coach, you lose some seniors, which happens in a program like yours, the way you've built it. Your seniors were a special group. You've had a lot of special groups. Now you get to reload. What is going to be the strength of this team besides Jordan?
Yeah, so I think we're in a new generation as far as a team and a program. And we've been here before. I think programs go through it. That group was unique. Like 3 years ago, we were in this exact situation, and we weren't thinking that team ended up winning 29 games. We weren't thinking that was really a possibility. But all of a sudden, those guys grew up and they really played well together, and their leadership was great. And then once we did, the next 2 years were they were a lot easier. Like we knew what we had. We didn't lose a guy off that team. And so we knew what we had. Roles were established. Leadership was established. We just had to work and stay healthy, and we did. And so we rolled off the next 2 years.
So who needs to grow up? Who are you hoping will take that next step?
Everyone needs to grow up. Like literally every guy has to make a move up. And this guy, Jordan's number one. He is our leader. We have other seniors that are part of that leadership group, but Jordan is definitely our leader, not just on the court, but off the court. And I think he's viewed that way by his teammates. So he is. Tanner Krebs he's been on our top 7 for the last 2 years, top 5 last year. So he's got to become like a top 3 player.
Yeah.
And then we have 5 freshmen. They're all going to have to. They can't be like your normal freshmen, and they shouldn't be. They're pretty talented. And then we have guys like Jordan Hunter, Kyle Clark, Elijah Thomas, Tommy Kuzi. Those guys have been in our program, Jock Perry, and they have to become starter type, probably 3 through 8 type players. So it really is everybody. He's got to become your best player, your best scorer. And he hasn't been that for us, but he started to show that last year, and he's ready for it, but it'll take time.
When we talked to Dave Rose earlier, he said we're going to play a little differently because of the guys that we have. And I would assume you guys play differently without Landell and Nar. I recall doing the Georgia game last year in the one on that Sunday in the Wooden Legacy, and it was great to watch those two guys. You know, you give it to Landell, and he either gives it to Nar to streak in, or Landell turns and scores a bucket. Will you guys play differently this year because those two are not in there?
A little bit, yeah. It started changing last year when Jordan started coming on. He wasn't the 4th option anymore. He was probably 2nd option last year by the end of the season, but came on second half of the season. So we don't have a guy right now that's you can just throw the ball to and you're going to get results like Londale, and that took a while to get to that. So yeah, how much we play out of the post will probably be adjusted, and how we do it. I think as far as playing with a guy like Nar, I think Nar was a special passer, really good competitor, smart guy. So, but I think we'll play same way with our guards as he played and as Jordan played last year. So we won't change our offense much. How we use it and who we put the ball in whose hands will change.
Jordan, you went from averaging 2 points a game your freshman year to 11 last year, and Coach talked about towards the end of the year you kind of stepped up even a little bit more. What is the next step for you specifically? Like what are we going to see from you that you've worked on in the off season? in your growth over the 3 years you've been in Moraga?
I think the next step for me is not only on the offensive end, bringing it every night, but also on the defensive end. Being able to not only be the leading scorer on the floor, but also be able to contain my guy and lock my guy up.
Love that. Can't wait to see that.
Any thoughts on the schedule, the non-conference schedule this year? What you've done, what you tried to do after what had happened at the end of last year, and the moving down from 18 games to 16 conference games, and how it might help?
That last piece, I think, is the most significant. So instead of 13 non-conference games, we have 15. So we have more control of who we play and the strength schedule, all that. I think the biggest thing that hurt us last year was our conference schedule. I think the middle of our conference is up. I think the bottom's up. I really do. I think our league is up this year. We're definitely in an up year, starting with Gonzaga. And but I think there's a lot of guys right below that. USF's sitting on a good team. I think Pepperdine's got a good team. And I just don't think there's a team I can say, hey, you should get that one. Mm-hmm. I think everybody's got some pretty good players, and like Portland returns some really good freshmen. No, they're not going to be freshmen this year, and that's how you get good in this league. And so, I think our conference is up, so you can get more good games within your conference. And then the league made a good move. I think cut it from 18 to 16. So now we're playing LSU in Vegas in a neutral. There's a top 25 game we wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
And we're playing New Mexico in Staples, which is a top 100 neutral game we probably wouldn't have gotten. Yeah. So they gave us more flexibility to go and get some good games. I think some of the teams in our league can go and do that.
Yeah, it's a good non-conference schedule. I can't wait to see you guys get tested there. Jordan, I want to ask you, so we heard a rumor, and we have proof that Steph Curry made a visit to the team. Do you model your game after Steph Curry, and what was it like? Did you get to play against him at all, or shoot with them? Or
yeah, we got to play against him a little bit in our open gym, and I definitely model my game after Steph Curry. That's my favorite player. I try to take as much as I can. Oh, yeah, that's great.
He's so little, man.
Who, Steph or
yeah,
me?
Well, both of you guys.
Yeah.
Two smallest people in that picture right there, Jordan.
Exactly. Yeah, I love everything about his game. I try to take as much as I can from like his shooting form to the way he finishes around the rim and stuff like that. So it was just an honor to be able to play against him and talk to him a little bit about basketball.
Greatest shooter of all time. Would you agree with that?
I agree, 100%.
So what's the backstory there? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
You've been around the game longer, but still,
he's awesome. It's awesome for our guys to get to play against him, and the way I wasn't there, I'm trying to recruit him or something. But
doing your job is what you were doing.
It was like the night before Christmas for our guys. They were so excited.
Yeah. What's the backstory there? How did he come over? Was it a complete surprise or?
Yeah. Well, Coach, we were actually supposed to have we were supposed to not do anything that day, and then Coach comes to me and says, "Hey, Steph Curry wants to come play open gym with you guys. Would you guys be down with that?" And I'm like, yeah.
So no, I got to sort it out. It's a bad day for me.
It was pretty much a no-brainer. So when I told the guys, they all thought I was kidding and stuff like that. But yeah, it was, and even the day of the open gym, we still were convinced he wasn't going to be there. But he showed up. He was there early, getting extra shots up and stuff like that. So it was awesome.
Oh, very cool. I would think he was very gracious too, and.
Yeah. He was. He carried himself really well. He was very humble. And it was just awesome to be around him.
Coach, last one, we'll get you out on this. You've been around a long time at St. Mary's at this conference, and you're one of your teams are one of the most enjoyable for us as broadcasters to watch. The way you guys play on both ends. I want to ask you though, after how many years have you been coaching?
This will be 18.
18. Are you still enjoying it just as much in your 18th year as you were in year 1, 2, and 3?
Year 1, we won 9 games, so definitely.
9 games, I don't remember that.
Well, you know what? Last 3 years, it doesn't get any better than that. Not because we won, just the group of guys we had. There's just the friendships, the relationships, see the growth from guys. It was great. So we have, and it helped our program as far as we just have great guys right now. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I'm enjoying it as much or more than ever, and because of that one thing right there is we have really good guys, and hopefully we'll win a lot of games, and we've been fortunate over the years. But even if we don't, we've got a great group of guys. They're going to give their best. This guy's the lead one, and he's a heck of a kid, and I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. But we have 14 others that are just like him as guys.
Well, we appreciate you guys stopping by.
Yeah,
Good
thanks
luck,
a lot.
and excited to see that Cal's coming over to your gym this year, so that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jordan and Coach Randy Bennett, thank you.
Thank
When
you.
Casey and I continue, we will talk with the San Francisco Dons. We'll have Kyle Smith in, and Frankie Ferrari will come in as well. And we'll talk about San Francisco. I know at the end of the year, a little disappointing finish for them, but we'll see if they can finish in the top half of the conference. We'll discuss that coming up next.
Career path. It's pretty unique. I think it's pretty.
We are back in fabulous Las Vegas here, middle of October, getting you set for the 2018-2019 West Coast Conference men's basketball season. We're inside Orleans Arena, and we'll be back here again in March, too, for the postseason tournament. But first things first, Casey Jacobson, Steve Quist with you. We're going to continue our conversation here as we get a chance to meet with Kyle Smith and Frankie Ferrari from the University of San Francisco. Gentlemen, thanks. I know you didn't have the kind of ending you wanted to the end of last year, but overall it was you've had back-to-back 20-win seasons here in at least your first 2 years here.
Yeah, no, we're excited. Like I said, I think our guys maybe even exceeded expectations, and we haven't put a lot of hard goals or parameters on and just kind of try to get better every day, and that getting to the CBI final, I think was good for us. I know Nevada and Loyola Chicago were teams that won that event and have gone on to kind of their programs have grown quite a bit.
You guys weren't always the most talented, and I mean no disrespect, Coach Smith, but you guys were fearless. I was fortunate enough to call your guys' game here against Nevada, who ended up going to the Sweet 16, being a top 25 program. You guys didn't back down at all. You beat St. Mary's in a huge. You always seem to me like you guys are in games, even if you don't win them. So that would be the identity that I would, categorize your team last year as fearless. What's the identity of this year's team?
I think more of the same. I hope. That's the first I've heard that. I'm excited. We're fearless. No, but you know, it starts with our leadership, and I think we got really good leadership. And Frankie is kind of the engine that makes us go. And then we got Nate Renfro, who's right there with him, who's a 3-year captain.
Like Nate.
And they're beyond just being solid hustler guys. They're 3.8 students. They're good citizens, and we really believe that this process is going from adolescence to young adulthood and maturing. And I think a mature team wins. And I think when people ask me, I say, we're boring, but I don't like boring. We're good.
Not boring to me.
No, it's fun.
Hey, Frankie, Charles Minlin's back, correct? Too. I mean, that was a big loss last year. I mean, imagine having that piece to the puzzle last year. What's he bring back to the table this year for the Dons?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is the scoring. He could really fill it up, and he could fill it up in bunches. He's a big guard, so he's physical and can rebound and has long arms, so he'll be in defensive passing lanes. But overall, he's a scorer that will really help us and take a lot of pressure off the other guards.
Frankie, you have one of the most unique stories, like as far as your personal journey in all of the conference. Jaleel Tripp for Pacific is another guy that had a really interesting journey to his career. But fill in our audience. You know, you went to USF, but then you didn't go to USF, and now you're back, and you were the surprise performer to me last year. Tell people.
It's been unique. Yeah, I grew up in Burlingame, which is a suburb of San Francisco, and I went to USF my first year and then transferred to Kenyatta Junior College, which is in Redwood City, a little bit south. And then I didn't play. I redshirted that year, so I was just taking classes and kind of playing in rec leagues and whatnot. And Coach Smith got the job, and I was fortunate enough to get a call from him saying, would you like to come back? And I was all in, and here we are now. So it's been a really unique story of ups and downs. I've learned a lot about myself.
Were you expecting to have the type of year that you did? Maybe you did. I didn't. Were you surprised at all by, your production just skyrocketed?
No, I wasn't surprised. I think as time grew on and I got more comfortable and opportunity presented itself, I was able to capitalize. And kind of the more we won, the more comfortable I got, and it all kind of sorted itself out. So
those numbers we just flashed on the screen are mind-boggling, considering the history of this Dons program, right? I mean, that goes back to the 50s and all that, to have those types of that type of season. Did you realize you put up those types of numbers?
I didn't. No, I'm not
today. You reinforced it today.
You guys,
I was like, geez, you got big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Sorry to put all the pressure on you.
That's good. It's
okay. Additions, subtractions to your team. I know Sule left. Sule, right?
Sule
Boom left to go to UTEP. That obviously has to be a big loss. So who has to come in and fill the shoes? Because he was sort of an exciting player.
Absolutely. I think Charles come back healthy, which should alleviate a lot of that. And then we have 3 newcomers that I think will have an opportunity to help a lot too. We have Dimitri Rivny, Belarus, who had a really good under-18 tournament. Dylan Belquist was first team All Bay Area performer. I think that's a good part of our blueprint, is just being global, and then also our local. And then we got Trey Anderson, who led his team to the state finals in a really good state, Washington, from Rainier Beach. So I think we're really excited about that group, and so the other guys getting mature and older and growing together. I think this group should be pretty veteran.
Yeah, there's some expectations. We're real excited to see you guys perform this year. Frankie, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about, you talked about your background, your career, but how about your family? You come from basketball, dad, coach at the high school level, and your brother Ralphie is working with the team on your staff, right, Coach Smith?
BC, yeah.
What is it like to have Ralphie there with you every day? We've seen some feature productions of you guys, but I want to hear from you.
It's awesome. This year he's officially like a video coordinator, so it's a little bit.
He's a video coordinator,
right? but a little different than last year. He was like a manager, and so he was able to be on the court with me last year. It's a little bit different this year, but having him around is great. I think he interacts with our guys well and with the staff well, so it's great having a helping hand. He's comfortable.
I'd like to say that I once coached a similar family that had 4 brothers are uber competitive. They're called the Chicos. I coached Casey's brother at San Diego. There are some striking similarities. It's fun.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say I've known Coach Smith since I was like 13 or 14. Marty Wilson, Randy Bennett. It's like they were all at USD at the same time.
Were you guys all under Brad? Was Brad?
Brad Holland.
All under Brad. Yeah. One thing, every time I do a San Francisco game, I'm doing many since 2004, it just seems like you always have guys, everybody you can count on. Do you get that sense?
Our group?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's...
And more so last year and in the last couple of years.
I think that's our strength. I think that it's what we preach. And we'll have a group that's they hold themselves accountable. We're gonna like I think what Casey said. I'm beaming today.
Right.
We show up to play and we're gonna compete hard, and that's what you want as a coach, and it'll make you pleased. And we've got some good young ones here.
And non-conference schedule-wise, if Arizona State is one that do they come up to warm
we
up?
got it.
That's a huge game to get.
No. Like I said, we're trying to get in that conversation and trying to grow our program, and I think the only way to do it is schedule people, play people. We got Arizona State coming in. We have Stanford coming in. We're at Cal. Harvard's coming in. We're going to play Northern Ireland, which is going to be an event during the season. I don't know with the jet lag, but
you're playing in Northern Ireland.
Northern
I did
Ireland.
not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who is that? Who are you playing there?
We open with Stephen F. Austin, who I think is actually going to be pretty good, and then very good. And then we have it's a tournament, Milwaukee or Buffalo, so an opportunity like Buffalo is awesome.
Arizona
So,
in the opening round,
they're a lot closer than us, but I think it's a great cultural experience. It's something that, again, awesome. I think it's going to be something that'll hopefully captivate our fans, and just something to. And I heard the guys that played in the event last year said it was awesome. They were sellout, and the fans in Belfast, who knew?
Yeah.
Right.
They said they're great.
That's what it's about, the experiences on and off the court. Last one, Coach, we'll get you out. The one person that we haven't really mentioned at all, and he's a core part, along with Frankie, is Jordan Rottino, one of my favorite guys. Talk about him and maybe his progression. Has he added something that I can't wait to see?
I feel awful because we're trying to promote our seniors into the leadership, and Jordan has been he's so nails, and he has gotten better. He's had a really awesome campaign this fall. Just coming on, and his leadership and his ability to shoot the ball is vital. And people, I don't know if people, you probably know, but he usually takes our best offensive player every night,
so
or on the perimeter, and he's played the most minutes for us the first 2 years.
He's
so
the Klay Thompson of
yes,
the Dons.
that's a great
how
call.
I would categorize
It's ironic that one of our coaches referred to him. We joke around and call him Klay, but I think he shot 43% from three. So
and that's my point. Every year you got guys you can count on. There's so many of them that you can talk about.
He's just
1
that
through 5, 1 through 10.
That guy's used to winning.
Right.
That guy's
De La Salle, right?
Yes. He's used to winning, and it's hard to. That's credit to how he was raised, how he's brought up as a coach, player, teammate. Great.
Well, we appreciate the time.
Oh,
Kyle
thanks.
Smith, Frankie
Thanks,
Farrar.
guys.
We look forward to seeing you guys.
Yes,
Good luck. Go Dons.
All right.
Great.
We're going to take a break, and as we bump out to break, we're going to take a look at our preseason poll. Actually, when we come back, we're going to take a look at the preseason standings and the all WCC selections. Some announces as late as today. We'll come back with that right after this. Well, we continue to have some great discussions about this conference. We have 2 more teams to come up here shortly after the top of the hour. We'll talk with Santa Clara and San Diego. But, Casey, as we've talked to the first 8 teams, there's been a lot of themes. A lot of teams feel like they can be in that second spot. Let's take a look at who the coaches and the media thought we're going to finish preseason polls. I don't know whether you like these or not, but at least we start the Hyper Bowl right now, and here's what the WCC is supposed to look like come 3 months from now.
Yeah, well, it's fun. It gives us something to talk to. We're all looking forward to college basketball season, especially you and I. We're total nerds. But in reality, they don't mean anything, right? It only matters when the season starts and what you finish up. But you take a look here at the preseason poll, and then here's the first team members. And we're going to interview one, KJ Fagan, who's in our studio right now. We're going to talk to him.
A lot of GUs on there.
Of course. I mean, Gonzaga's
5 guys, and one of them, Norvell, might not even be a starter when it's all said and done.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
That's true.
A lot of good players in the WCC, as always. And what I love about this conference is not only are they good, but they're so cerebral. You got to be a good academic student to go to any one of these fine universities. And
a few guys that may be NBA draft picks 5 or 6 months from now. All right, if you want to catch the rest of our show, tune in to WCCSports.com for our live stream. Welcome back to Orleans Arena as we continue here 2018 WCC Men's Basketball Media Day. Steve Quist, Casey Jacobson back with you, and we're happy to welcome in the Santa Clara Broncos, their head coach Herb Sendek starting his 3rd year for Santa Clara, and KJ Fagan, terrific guard too, that was on that. You were sitting here while we had that last segment. You saw the All WCC preseason team, so congratulations on that. Get a comment on that and what your thoughts. I mean, I guess it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work.
Yes, it's definitely a good feeling. I just hope my play is able to justify the coaches thinking I belong on that list. And that's not my limit for me. I have bigger aspirations, so I'm going for the Player of the Year award. So I just want to go out and play every game like it's my last and make my mark on this season and put my team in a position to win every game.
Coach Sindick, you are no stranger to coaching superstars. You had Wally Zerbiak back in the day, you had James Harden, your days at Arizona State, and now you have a KJ Fagan, who's one of the better guards in all the conference and the West Coast. How important is it for a coach to have a star that you can really rely on in crucial moments?
Yeah, no, the reality of coaching is, you're as good as your players are, and we've been fortunate to have KJ the last 2 years, and now, we're expecting him to have a capstone senior year, and we've relied on him a great deal to do everything for us. He's obviously been an integral part of our team, not only with his play, but with his leadership as well.
You guys are almost like an NBA team this year. You've overhauled the roster. Like 8 guys leave for one reason or another, graduation or what have you. 8 guys come in. So it's talk about the revamping of this roster.
Yeah, for the first time, we've had a significant turnover in roster as things played out. So we're trying to integrate 8 or so new players with a couple of returning guys. And so this month of October is always important, but it's really magnified for us right now because we do have so many new players.
One of my favorite things about being a broadcaster in this conference is watching players like KJ stay, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 years and watch them mature. And you guys had a player, Jared Brownridge, who was awesome, and now you get to be a senior. I want you to comment about, KJ, your growth. Remember your first day on campus many years ago and where you are on and off the court.
Yeah, coming in, I didn't get offered a scholarship to Santa Clara until about 2 weeks left of my senior year. So coming in, I was just trying to find my way. And as the season went by, I just slowly started to gain confidence and gain ground. And once we got the coaching turnover, Coach Sindick started to really open the game up for me. He's a big film guy, so he started to show me things that I can improve on through film. And through 2 or 3 years with him, I've progressed so much because I've learned the mental side of the game more than the physical side. He's really tapped into the mental side and approaching every day like I'm trying to make the team, or when I'm slipping, he's letting me know about it. So the growth has been good to see. You can't always see it in a moment, but when you reflect back on the season, it makes you feel good, and it bodes well for my trust in him, knowing that he has my best interests at heart.
So who do you think will be your second and third scoring options as you revamp this roster? Are you even to that point where you can answer that question effectively?
No, I don't think I can, and I don't know that I'd want to. Because we're still trying to find out who we are, and we only have 9 healthy players right now, and I can tell you this: we need all 9 to be at their best, and we have to play as a team. But we're going to need each one of those guys to do his job, to do it well, and we won't focus on just a slice of the game like who will be our second or third leading scorer. Right now, we're still even trying to get to know ourselves. At least I'm trying to get to know our team.
Coach, the season is so long, and with a new roster, how do you break up the season and keep everybody motivated and fresh? Is it like preseason, then it's non-conference, or do you take it one day or 1 week at a time?
Yeah, I mean, I think in my mind, I'll bracket it into certain segments. But as far as what we're talking with our team about right now, it's the present moment. It's today's practice. And it's really the only thing we have any control over anyway. And so we're very much present-minded, and we're just trying to get better. And it's really no more complicated than that. In my own mind, having coached a number of years, I kind of have a feel for, the bigger picture. But even that sometimes has to be modified depending on the twists and turns of a season. And so I think you just constantly ask yourself as a coach, what does our team need now? And you probably should ask yourself that multiple times a day. And like right now, October's a great month because we're teaching, we're learning, we're getting to know each other, and you have practices uninterrupted with games, so you could really focus on yourself. And that's always the most important team.
It is, yeah.
One name I'm interested in, either one of you guys can take this, in just doing research for Santa Clara, is Trey Wirtz, incoming kid. You got a big smile on your face here. But what intrigues me is he had 3 ACC offers and still decided to come out west here to Santa Clara. That's even Gonzaga can't convince kids to do that sometimes. Talk about his game and how you maybe plan to use him this year.
Well, personally speaking, he has a lot of upside. He's about 6'3", very long arms, can really shoot it. And he's just trying to find his way like a freshman at any point. So every day in practice, I'm just trying to push him as hard as I can. I'm trying to get under his skin. I'm trying to, just get him to realize, like, when the game comes, none of this will be a surprise. So I'm very excited for his career. He has a tremendous upside. He's a great kid, great character, high IQ. And even as a freshman, some of the reads he makes off ball screens, I wasn't making that until the end of my sophomore year, end of my junior year. So I would say he's a little bit ahead in terms of the mental side. So the only thing that will follow is game experience. And that comes with experience, As the season goes by, he'll just get better and better and better. And with a coach like Coach Sendek, players have no other reason but to get better.
And no team is obviously a finished product. In October, Coach Sendek talked about October is a month of learning, right? But I want to ask you, KJ, what are some of the things that that you've recognized are the strengths of your team and that are going to be a strength of your team and maybe a weakness as well?
Our strength is that we never get too down on ourselves. We always realize, like, in the moment, things always may seem like they're worse than what they are, but, like, we always pick each other up. We always are there for each other. And throughout the season, you're going to need those type of players on your team because, it's impossible for your season to be just highs. Because even like teams like Warriors, they have those low points where they falter and stuff like that. So I think a strength of our team is that we're together. We love being around each other, and we're balanced. I feel like we have a lot of areas of attack. You have guards like me and Tasha, Edie, who could break teams down off the dribble. You have players like Keyshawn and Trey who could shoot. We have a plethora of bigs who could finish around the rim now. So I'm very excited and optimistic about the team, and I don't think of any team of having any type of weakness. So I wouldn't say we have any weaknesses so far.
You mentioned the Warriors. Let me ask you an NBA question. Do you watch NBA, and who's your favorite player to watch? Maybe a guy that you like to emulate.
I'm a Lake Show fan, so
yeah, LeBron.
LA Bron. But right now, my favorite player is CJ McCollum. The league is at a spot where it's like skill is just so key in being a part of the league, and the moves that he does and the way he's crafty in the lane are things that I'm trying to pick up in my game. So I'm really into CJ McCollum right now.
Were you aware that Steph Curry was over at St. Mary's practice or open gym? No, no,
I wasn't
aware. Okay. So now there's pressure on you to get one of your hometown teams up there.
Right,
LeBron,
right.
Yeah, call up LeBron, man.
Yeah.
Tell him to bring his boys up.
Come by Levy one time.
All right, and real quick, anything in the non-conference season schedule? One game you're looking forward to maybe test where you guys are at this year?
Yeah, the first game.
First game. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Who is your first game of the year,
up,
Coach?
didn't I?
Who's your first game? Who do you open with?
Prairie View.
Prairie View.
Okay. But you look at this, you get Washington and Cal, so a couple of Pac-12 teams that you'll get in the non-conference.
Yeah, and we play Washington State as well from the Pac-12. But
nice.
Right Washington come to your place, or is that at a tournament?
That's in Vancouver.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. That's over the Thanksgiving weekend. Cal. Very good. Well, we appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Good luck, Coach.
JJ Fagan, good luck to you guys.
Good luck,
the rest of the way out. We look
KJ's
forward
trying to take our job soon. You know that?
Yeah.
Watch out.
I know. My goodness.
Over my dead body.
That's right. You know how competitive he can be.
There we go.
All right. When we come back, San Diego Toreros will be in the house here on Media Day 2018. West Coast Conference, Sam Scholl, and he'll tell us the story of how his AD told him that he got that job to succeed Lamont Smith. We'll be back after this. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, Nevada. 2018 West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Media Day coming to an end now. We've talked to 9 of the 10 teams, but now we get to talk to the San Diego Toreros and Sam Scholl, their head coach, Isaiah Pinheiro. The transfer from Portland State, who just that great first year when he was eligible last year. We're excited to see the 2 Isaiahs play. Guys, thanks so much for coming back. Sam, I want to ask you about just the fact that, what happened at the end of last year. We don't have to dwell on that at all. But you did get a chance to coach these guys because of the coaching change at the end of the year for 4 games. So how key has that been?
I think it was really important, just for our coaching staff to have an opportunity to work with these guys on a daily basis in practice, which is so big in the preparation of things. Sure. And just to kind of start developing that camaraderie. And then having the opportunity to go on a foreign trip to Costa Rica this past summer really, really helped.
Sam, your program has seen the biggest improvement of any in the WCC over the last couple of years. You guys went from 9 wins to 11 to 20 last year. So expectations might be a little bit higher, which is good. That's a good thing. You want that. Right. What are your expectations for the season? What are your goals for your group?
Just for us every single day to go out and improve with how we know we can win games. Improve each day. We know our goals are at the end of the year. And so what we're really, really focused on is just each day, is just getting better at the things we know we're going to have to do to be that type of team.
And what are those things?
To be a really, really competitive, aggressive defensive team, to share the ball well, to play for each other, and to be really disciplined in our details.
Isaiah, I live down in San Diego. I don't know if you know that or not, but I was by a Barnes & Noble by campus, and yes, there are bookstores still alive. And I picked up a Street and Smith, which is at my feet, and I opened it up and saw you guys pick to finish 3rd. And I thought, wow, in this conference, we're always talking about who that team is fighting for 4th, and now we're actually can talk about 2 and 3 spots being open. Your thoughts on being picked to finish as high as 3?
No, that's great. Coach Scholl said it a lot. This conference is getting better each year, and so it's a testament to the conference about it's not just 3 teams anymore. Each team is getting better every year, and we're getting better as well each year. And so I think it's great, and it gives us expectations to live up to and to meet.
Talking about improvement, I'm going to ask you, Isaiah, so you're a transfer from Portland State. In your first year there, you had 9 3-pointers. Last year, you had 27 threes. And I'm a 3-point shooter myself, so I got to ask you the shooting question. Have you been working on that even more, and are you going to unleash 63 balls on us this year?
Oh, yeah. The 3-point shot since I've gotten here is something that the coaches have been really on me about. They want me to shoot more, and that's been a really big focus for me this summer and fall, is being more consistent with my 3-point shot. And so I think this year I'm going to be taking more and making more.
Is it difficult as a bigger player to also, your strength is your athleticism, you're often taller than people, and sometimes you want to take advantage of that down low. So is it difficult to, all right, do I need to hang on the perimeter, or do I need to go down low and punish people? Is it difficult?
I've talked with our new head coach, Coach Carter, a lot, and it's about making the game simple, being as efficient as you can. And when you're down low, it takes a lot of energy, and so shooting 3 sometimes in the past, I would not shoot them and go down low, but now it's taking my game to the next level and being more efficient.
Sam, you've been on that staff as an assistant for a long time, and you know how important it is to have a really good point guard. You think maybe Christopher Anderson was the last really good one before you got Isaiah Wright. Let's talk about how the other Isaiah in this starting 5 has impacted this program in the last couple of years.
He just can create offense. He can create offense in transition with his great vision of the floor. He's really good off ball screens, so he can create offense by seeing where you're helping from. He's worked really, really hard this offseason to be able to make a 3 behind a ball screen, so if the defense goes under, he's going to be able to make that shot at a consistent rate, which is really going to open up a lot of things. And then he's really being very detail-driven in his defensive effort and understanding how he can create offense through his defense and the pressure he puts on the ball and the havoc he can cause. So couldn't be more excited for the season ahead for Isaiah.
Who's the best Isaiah on the Toreros team this year? Who's the best Isaiah?
I don't know. You tell me. It doesn't.
Well,
We work for
you
one
could probably
common
break
goal.
me in half.
Nah, he's strong.
Talk to us about how, I mean, you got this, you were the interim at the end of last year. They get to play 4 games on you in the postseason. And you weren't sure whether you were not going to get the job, right? They open it up and who might want it nationally. But then your athletic director, how he chose you and how he came up and told you where you were. Tell us that story.
It was a pretty special deal. It was Easter weekend. He and I had a conversation on Friday before I left, the Friday evening, and he said, you know, I'm going to let you know this weekend. So Saturday, I'm just kind of sitting there all day, like looking at the phone, and you know, one of those deals where the phone vibrates or rings, you're like, and then it's not him.
It's just an Instagram
notification.
Yeah,
telemarketing, exactly, no question. So the whole day seemed to drag on. Then late that evening on Saturday, he said, you know, asked about my Easter plans. So I don't want to get in the way, but just, you know, what are you doing? I thought that was a little bit odd, but I was like, well, maybe he's just trying to find the perfect time to call to let me know one way or the other. And so go through Easter, and it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm out. My wife and I are from the same hometown, and so we're at my in-laws' house, and I'm outside playing with my 2 daughters. And
this is in Gig Harbor,
Washington. Yep, in Gig Harbor, Washington. So, you know, I get called inside, and I walk in the door, and there's Bill with a contract, and he had stopped and got a cake. And I never in a million years would have thought that, you know, would get a head coaching job in Gig Harbor, Washington, which is a very special place for me and my family, and to have it with my wife's parents and my parents all there. And so this really shows the heart that Bill has for, our athletic director, Bill McGillis, has for USD athletics and how much he cares for each and every one of us.
Well, what a cool story. Congratulations,
Thank
Coach.
you.
You're no stranger. You've earned it. You've been coaching in the WCC for 18 years as an assistant. So it's not like you're a stranger. It's not like this is your first rodeo. It just happens to be your first head coaching gig. But how different is it that it's only one seat over on the bench, but it's got to be a whole different, just everything about your responsibilities. Can you talk about that?
Yeah,
change?
it's the craziest thing is now that everything we do on a daily basis and a monthly basis is you know, on your desk. You're deciding what you're doing, when you're doing it, what you're implementing, when you should implement it, how much you should do it, how consistent you should be. I mean, all those decisions you don't even think about when you're an assistant coach, you know, because the head coach is handling all those. And so, yeah, that's been you know, that's been something a little bit crazy, but you know, I'm very, very fortunate to have an unbelievable coaching staff, and then 4 great seniors that come every day to work, and they're really leading the charge.
If you ever get stressed by all the responsibilities you have as a head coach, you just go ziplining, which you've done a couple of times. In fact, you did it last night in Vegas, right? We have some video proof of you. Here it is right here. Where is this at, Coach?
This is down in downtown Vegas. Downtown Vegas. I haven't seen this video yet, but this is pretty fun. It was cool. You know, you ride like Superman. And then you see our WCC commissioners ahead of me, so that was a little bit embarrassing.
They put a GoPro on you?
Yeah, GoPro on my head, and so
that's awesome.
It was fun, and it was crazy. You could see all the people, and people watch as you're going down, and really fun deal.
How do you stop?
You get a pretty hard stop here, right here. They break you at the very end. It's a kind of a hard hit, but no, a lot of fun.
You're no stranger to ziplining because did it in Costa Rica, right? You guys had a trip down to Costa Rica, correct?
Yeah, we did. We had a great time and a great bonding experience where we really grew as a team. And you know, that was our goal the whole summer, is to be more connected. And we felt like if we played for each other more, if we knew each other and grew more connected, we want to play for each other more. And so, you know, that trip really provided some great opportunities, as you see here. You know, visiting an orphanage. Our guys were amazing here in that experience, and I knew we were really connected when we checked into a new hotel. And I'm walking to my room about 15 minutes after the team had checked in, and I'm hearing all this loud noises in the pool, and the whole team was down there playing water volleyball. And I was like, we're taking some good steps.
That's cool.
And Isaiah, you said you're an outdoor guy, so you probably loved that trip as well, right?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. I mean, ziplining through the jungle, scene, we saw some iguanas, and then just the sight was amazing. And then we were in Yaco and got to spend the day at the beach. So it was an amazing experience.
Well, it's about.
I want to ask you about your roster because you take one piece away in Juwan Gray, who is pretty good.
Yeah,
we like playing him,
like
rim
Juwan
protector and all
that.
that. So he transfers to Towson State, be closer to home. But I look at your roster, you got a lot more size than I've ever seen a USD roster have before. Is that, can you talk a little bit about that?
No, definitely. I mean, we have 2 redshirt freshmen coming in, both 6'10", 7-footers, and then we have Flo, Alex Fresca, and Squirrel, and we have some rim protection this year, you know, and we've been in the weight room. They've got bigger, stronger, more athletic, and so it's really nice to know that if on defense something happens, we have someone at the rim.
Hey, that hair is awesome. I want to ask how long it takes you to get that dude ready for TV.
It takes about like 5-10 minutes.
5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
All right.
It's perfect.
Just some gel.
Do you have any? I mean, I see the return of the city championship. For a while, it was gone, and they came back to Petco Park. But that's going to be back, and I'm not sure. Is it at Viejas this year?
Yes, it is.
It's at Viejas. Okay. Any other? Well, you have Cal coming in too. So talk a little bit about the non-conference schedule and maybe boosting that up, if that's a good thing or not.
No, I think it's a great thing. I mean, it's time for our program. We feel like we're, in the middle. We put ourselves in the arena of expectation, and with that, we wanted to challenge ourselves and playing at Washington and at Oregon and.
Those are two of the best teams in the Pac-12 this year,
yep.
Coach.
And then Colorado at home, and we'll play Washington State right here in the Orleans Arena, and not to mention a trip to Ole Miss as well. But these guys are ready for it. Our program is ready for this next step, and we're excited for that. And it's going to get us ready for what's going to be a really, really strong year in the WCC.
Yeah, appreciate that. And Colorado coming in, you guys won at
Beat them
Boulder
last year. Yep.
So they're going to be a little upset.
Yeah.
Sam, we're real proud of you, man.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Good luck.
And you, Isaiah, as well. Thanks.
Isaiah, good luck.
Yes. Congratulations. Well, Casey, now we had a chance to digest what we've heard the last.
I'm full.
10 teams. You're full. Yeah, I know, me too.
I'm stuffed.
Your thoughts on it? I mean, we still have Gonzaga up there picked number 1, and it looks like there's a pretty good race at number 2 this year, as opposed to every other year we come in here and talk about just who's going to be in the 4th spot.
It's really interesting. No matter what team you want to talk about, Gonzaga, they are a legitimate shot at a national title, and they were playing in the national title game 2 years ago. And I think this team isn't quite as strong as that team was, but it's close, and they only have to beat the people that they play in the NCAA tournament. St. Mary's is really interesting to me because they are rebuilding, but Randy Bennett has shown time and time again the way that they play the right way. But if you're the BYU Cougars, you're looking at this as an opportunity to jump the Gales for the first time in a long while. And then I love talking about the surprise teams. Last year was San Diego, who went 9-9. And can they take that next step forward? San Francisco has been consistent. Pacific, we talked to Damon Stoudemire, and yeah, they lost Miles Reynolds, but they got a lot of transfers in as well. They're super athletic, so can they take another step forward?
Yeah. I like BYU at that number 2 spot. The one thing that I keep thinking about is how difficult it is for them to play at sea level, as opposed to. Have you ever looked at those numbers? And
I have
you're
not.
looking at me right now,
no.
like no, but you think. They've struggled sometimes at LMU. They've lost it to these guys in San Diego. Pacific last year.
They like breathing that thin air is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah, I hope Dave Rose is not watching the stream the rest of the way out. But,
he's got better things to do than to watch you and I talk about it.
But I bet that goes through his mind.
Maybe.
So it's been our pleasure serving you this year again. We're going to be on the broadcast again regionally, and then hopefully ESPN, Pac-12 Network as well. We'll get some WCC games along the way. Yep. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to all the coaches and the players. We're getting geared up for an exciting year, 2018-19, in the West Coast Conference. So for Casey Jacobson, I'm Steve Quiss. Good afternoon from Las Vegas and Orleans Arena.